Hi, everyone. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio, where our mantra is to educate, enlighten, and entertain. The views of the guests may not represent those of the host or the station. Folks, I have another exceptional guest with me today. I just met my guest last week on LinkedIn. And Chris Berryman is a wonderful inspiration. I really enjoy getting to know him. What a story. What an inspiring story. Chris Berryman is a coalition builder. He is founder, creator of Bringing Humanity Together. And I want to welcome Chris Berryman to Chatting with Betsy.
Well, hello, Betsy. Good afternoon and good evening or good morning to wherever your listeners are today on Transformational Thursday.
And I'm glad we connected, Chris. Really enjoyed reading your story. I'd like for you to tell the audience how you founded your Bringing Humanity Together, but what is a coalition builder? And how did you get from your childhood to where you are now, which is, folks, phenomenal? And I just have to say this. There's going to be a link in the blog about Chris's story. You have to read it because it's just too long to say on the show. So you have to read it for sure.
Yes.
And I really want to encourage the audience, connect with Chris Berryman on his LinkedIn page. The links for that will also be in the blog. Go ahead, Chris.
Thank you so much, Betsy. And, of course, again, good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Berryman, the coalition builder and founder of Bringing Humanity Together. And the way that started for me, it started over 15 years ago when I asked myself this very simple question. Should I be working with people or for people? And I know that there was a big distinction in and of itself between working with and working for. But that actually came something to a surprise to me because, as Betsy said, that there was even a story behind me, which everyone has a story, but it actually took place much earlier than that. And to touch base a little bit about who I am is I come from a special educational background. And when I was in school, I was told and labeled that I had these disabilities and that special education I had to be in, and I had to be this and I had to be that. And I was even told, because I had to go through speech therapy for over 2+ years, I was never going to talk again. But look, here I am today. I am on a radio program that's going to go, literally, I truly believe, international when people hear this, because here's why. I truly believe when you share your story with people and you do it in a way that's going to be meaningful and significant and really purposeful and even inspirational, that's going to matter with people. And like I said, when I asked myself that very question over 15 years ago, I asked it in this kind of way. I want to be working with people rather than for people, and here's why. When you work for others and you help others get what they want, that doesn't necessarily mean to say that they wouldn't help you in one way, shape, matter, and form. But when you work with people and you invest in them and they invest in you, the best investment still to this very day, ladies and gentlemen, is that human investment, that you actually spend time with people. You get to meet them where they are, and you take them for who they are, and you build that bridge to them and with them in such a way not only does it work in their world, but also works in yours. And I truly believe this is the next thing that comes to pass. It is not only a gift, but I truly believe it's the very definition of change, which is transformation. And if we allow that to occur and create an environment not only of one that we will love, but also one that they will love, that might just turn into the life that they love if we allow that to occur. So I'm always about the power of positivity, the power of possibility, and just saying yes. And if you can say yes to life and say, hey, I want life to happen for me and not to me, it's not only going to change your mind, it's going to change the way you actually not only see yourself in life moving forward, but also how others see you in moving that life through life together in a way that's not only going to be significant, meaningful, and very, like I said, engaging, because what is the art of connecting state? A little intentionality with a little discovery and a little authenticity. And I will actually add on to this into the mix. having a little curiosity. Because then we could truly start getting curious with one another and asking, like I said, that very simple question is like, who are you? And I truly believe that's a better question to ask. It's not what you do. It's who are you? When people really find out, hey, this is who I am and this is what I stand for and this is where I see, then maybe more importantly, when we have those curious-driven conversations to where I can see what you see and then you can see what I see, then we can all see what we should all see. But see, we don't have to agree on every single thing that we believe in and stand for. We don't even have to come in agreement to that. Totally recognizing on that. But you know what's even better and I truly believe significant is when people can be in agreement and be in alignment because we are, again, allowing that to occur.
That sounds wonderful. When you align yourself with, I'd like to say, like-minded people, going for the same goals and have the same goals, you can really achieve a lot more.
Correct. Absolutely, 100%.
I have to ask you something, Chris, or actually I have to say to you, you know, I interview a lot of people, and I've interviewed a lot of people who were told they were disabled or they do have disabilities. And I think society likes to put people into boxes. You're this, you're that. You can't be this, you can't be that. And that is so discouraging, especially to a young child. And, you know, I was put into a box myself. I had a grammar school teacher say, Betsy, you're going to take the general course in high school, get married, and have children. And, you know, in other words, you're going to be nothing.
Right.
And it's not right. How did you, I'm curious as to how did you get out of that box that people put you in?
I tell you, this is how I did it. Yes, this is how I did it. And it's in my story that's going to be on the Biz Catalyst website when you guys go to that link. But this is what has shown up for me as, and it comes from a great person. Her name is Patty Harville. She initially was my psychiatrist by trade, and not only did she become my psychiatrist, she ended up turning out to be the best gift that has been given to me on this earth, besides, of course, my parents, because she was actually a special ed teacher, too, as well. But this is what she said to me when I was not only going through my speech therapy, but going through sessions with her many, many, many years ago. And she just simply said this, Chris, see the words, be the words, and let the words flow right through you. And then nothing will stop you ever again, because then people will hear you and you have something to share and you have something to say. And then people will really notice you. And ever since then, Betsy, that has been my greatest gift, and I still have held on to that still to this very day. And she said that those very words to me in a very, very, very concise way, and something that I can still remember, even though I was so young. I was probably maybe 9 or 10 years old, but that resonated with me, and that really made an impact. And see, words have meaning, and words have power behind them. And sometimes we can use those words in those actions that we take with people, of those active listening kind of sessions. By sometimes we don't even have to say anything at all, but still can get our point across when we actually truly listen to people in such a way that creates that environment for growth potential, thriving potential, connection potential, and everything like that. And see, for me, when it comes to the power of words, even through the power of words, we can create new opportunities and new possibilities there within, because they do have that meaning, they do have that significance, and they can have the power to inspire us and then be called to act upon that in and of itself.
Yes, I like that. I want to make sure I got that right. You said she told you to see the words, be the words, say the words?
No, she said, see the words, be the words, and let the words flow right through you.
Okay. That's awesome. I think also, I know in my own life, when people see something in us that we don't see in ourselves, and they take the time to mentor us, someone takes you underneath their wing, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to be with people who believe in supporting each other, and you're working together and thriving together.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, that is wonderful, and I have to say, this, Chris, in my own life, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a host on Passionate World Talk Radio, because folks, this is the honest truth. I never encountered two wonderful mentors until I met Jeanne White and Lillian Cauldwell. Lillian Cauldwell, CEO of this Passionate World Talk Radio, and Jeanne White is the station manager. And I really like Lillian's philosophy. And she told me, Betsy, when a host is successful, the station is successful. It's a team. We work together.
Correct.
And I never had that before in a work environment. And that's really awesome.
And think about it, Betsy, that's a gift in and of itself, because here's why. What's the acronym of TEAM stand for? Together, everybody achieves more. See, we've been taught to believe that we keep saying it to our organizations and managers and leaders and employees as such for decades upon decades, that we say to them, there's no I in team.
Right.
Well, for me, and I've been working for others for over 35 years, I've seen a different way with that, because here's why. When you actually see what's happening, when you actually see what's going on, not what you perceive it to be, not what you feel it to be, but what is actually occurring, then you can see what really is going on. Yeah, granted, what's the purpose of a business? Of course, it's there to make money and profit and things of that nature. Absolutely, 100%. But what if we wish to flip that around to such a degree that we're not in it for the money, but we know the money will come? Because what is money at the end of the day? Another form of energy and a tool that we use to get the things that we want to have in our life. Without a shadow of a doubt, I truly believe, again, like I said, when it comes to that human investment kind of dynamic, when you invest in people, their ROI will go up so substantially, because they will be willing to not only go with you on that journey to build that field of dreams, whether it be in an organization, in a private firm, mom and pop's dynamic, whatever that might be, because, see, I truly believe in this dynamic. Leaders create more leaders, and they also create more followers and contacts, and here's why. Because the traditional business mindset has always been managers have to manage and everything like that. Managers have to create the workflows and processes and the day-to-days and all that kind of stuff. Understand that and recognize that. Absolutely, 100%. But see, Betsy, there's a new way of leading and a new way of being, and that's what bringing humanity together is all about. Because maybe we don't have to manage people anymore. Maybe we can just be there with them on their journey, whether to be in a path that, hey, I want to be the next Fortune 500 CEO. Great. I would love that. But you know what? Let's do it together, because, see, I truly believe in this. And it's a great quote, and I want everyone to hear it. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, let's go together. And that really struck a chord with me when I heard that. And I just stay steadfast and true to that, because I truly believe when you help others grow and build their field of dreams, they will in turn help build yours. And see, in my 35 years of experience, I have worked for some great companies that really stood by what they stand for, and they did the right thing, and they knew it was the right thing to do because they knew they couldn't go wrong with right. But there were others who just only walked the talk, talked the talk, and what they said didn't really was backed by their actions because of it and everything like that. Because I got to ask you, Betsy, would you rather be working with somebody that not only did what they say and said what they were going to do, but they did it in such a way, not only did they empower you to be a part of it, and they put you into that very vision and journey and path there within, but they actually let you be there in a way that created that environment that you would love, and you were not beholden to that I need to do this and I need to do that, and I had to conform to what management taught me. Wouldn't you love to work in an organization just like that?
Sure. Yep. Sounds good. So when someone contacts you, Chris, and if they say, "Oh, I want to be part of bringing humanity together," what is that process?
The process is simple. All you have to do is send a message to me and say, "Hey, Chris, I would love to hear more about your story," because, again, at the end of the day, I truly believe the better question to ask is not what you do, is who are you? Get to know who I am first. Send a message. Say, "Hey, Chris, I would love to get to know you on a deepening, medium for human level," because I truly believe in that, because human connection is far more significant and far more meaningful when we're not asking, "Hey, I need to buy your product and service from you," or I want to get your consulting from you and all that kind of stuff. Because, see, you can get that from anyone else probably on this planet. But I truly believe when people know who you are and what you stand for, it's going to create more attraction to people of whether to be a business, whether to be a community-led driven project, or whatever that might be. Because, again, at the end of the day, you want them to see you for who you really are. And I truly believe in that. So I want people to get to know me first. And then when I share my story and share my vision with them, it's about the experience. I truly believe in that, Betsy. It's bringing humanity together in and of itself is literally an experience. And what I wanted to create it in a way that people can get more out of it than maybe they even put into it. Because, see, the thing I just expect is I just want people just to show up. And if you can just show up as you are, that's all I ask. And I truly believe that is going to be very powerful when people hear that.
And do you, this might sound like a bizarre question, but does the Bringing Humanity Together, do they help people establish businesses or contacts, or is it more like a support, like you're supporting someone in their business journey or whatever they do?
It could be any and all of the above, and here's why. Because, see, since we're an upstart organization, we're on the ground floor of a lot of things that's going to come to us in the near future. I mean, we're doing events already. Our first event was last month that we did about conversations of curiosity. It was inspired by a great Julia Dar video. And, Betsy, I will send you that video so you can put it in your blog, too, as well. But it's going to be much more than that. And, see, this is how I built out Bringing Humanity Together. I wanted to build out the following first, and here's why. When people really get to know who you are and what you stand for, and, again, they can see what you see and maybe even believe what you believe, that's going to really change the fundamental dynamic, not only in a business dynamic sense, but more importantly in a human connective sense, because people don't want to follow just to simply say, "Hey, I'm a part of a group," or "I'm a part of a social media group on LinkedIn," or if it's on Facebook or Instagram. I just want to be not just a part of that. People want to have a vested interest of why they are there and what brought them to there. And, see, I truly believe that is what we can do here at Bringing Humanity Together, because we want people to be in that kind of, I want to create a better environment for not only myself, but also for others, to where now it's not only the one that I love, but it's the one that they love, and we can create that together. And that's what Bringing Humanity Together, I truly believe, will be known for that, because we are doing that first, creating the following, creating the community, creating the, literally, as some people say, creating the fan base and everything like that. Because if you build that out and build out from that foundation, that's where it starts. And, see, the way we've built out our foundation in and of itself is built upon the 5 pillars of Bringing Humanity Together, which are leadership, human development, health and wellness, family and community. And I truly believe, Betsy, all of them are literally in alignment to each and every single one of them. So I'm going to ask you, Betsy, I'm going to ask this of all your listeners who's going to be listening to this broadcast, what aligns with you or what resonates with you with those 5 pillars of bringing humanity together, Betsy?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, I never saw myself as a leader, but evidently I have been leading. And health and wellness, very interested in that since I am a Alzheimer's advocate, and I believe in, educating people and reaching out to the community. There's a lot of people in need. Education.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I will say this about Alzheimer's because this is where my heart is. People really need some serious education, and not just, I even say professional people. People who work with those who have dementia need to be educated.
Exactly.
And there's a huge need for that.
Exactly. And I'm glad you said the education piece, and here's why. I can even see us going into the educational system too as well, because I truly see that we can really have an impact on our future leaders of tomorrow today, because I want to bring that humanity back into education to where people have a choice, whether to be in their education, whether to be in their work dynamic, whether to be in their communities, wherever that might lie for people. I truly believe in that, because here's why. I truly believe choice is the ultimate path to freedom, because if we get the freedom to choose our path, choose our way forward, and choose it in a way that's going to be not only significant for us, but also maybe even significant for others to see as well, maybe they can, again, align or even agree to be on that path with us, but they not necessarily have to be mutually exclusive or tied to either one of them. They can be able to start off, hey, I can agree with you on this when it comes to Alzheimer's. But not only can I be in agreement with you, Betsy, I can be in alignment, because that calls to me too as well. But then again, when people talk and people have those great and engaging, curious conversations, whether it be all about Alzheimer's or education in our community for our kids, or even having human development be the next front and center piece of business moving forward, we can really all have a hand to play in that and be a part of that, because I truly believe once we become a part of something bigger than of ourselves, it's going to create so much significance and so much vision and so much meaning and even purpose to such an extent. Not only can it change our lives individually, it will change everyone's lives on a whole, because I'll go to this great Star Wars quote that's changed my life forever, and I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Star Wars has changed my life because it's impacted me on such a scale that it is truly mind-boggling. And I will tell you that offline when you guys reach out to me. But here's this quote from Star Wars that has changed my life, and here it is. To embrace others for their differences for that which makes you whole. I'll say that again. To embrace others for their differences for that which makes you whole. I truly believe, Betsy, we're on a huge opportunity for humanity like no other time in human history, that we can literally not only meet people where they are and take them for who they are and build that bridge to them and with them in such a way that not only transformation can occur, but accept them on a whole scale. And here's why. What we have done probably for generations upon generations is pick apart people because of what we've been taught and conditioned to believe that's what we had to do. We only have to like certain number of people because of the way they look or they dress or they talk or whatever. We put those preconceived ideas in our heads or even biases to such an extent it creates that division in and of itself, and then we really don't fully connect with people. I truly believe that this is what we can really do from a human connector standpoint. And not only can we honor and recognize said biases or said preconceived ideas or whatever negative baggage or words that you want to put into that kind of keeps us held back from really truly in connecting and communicating with people on a deep and meaningful human level. Let's not only acknowledge from both sides of the equation, from their side and in my side, but set that aside just for a brief moment and say, what can we actually do within this conversation to not only use words as creating a new opportunity and new possibility, but like I said, going back to that Julia Dar video about using curious-driven conversations that where in that very video, when like I said, when I send it to you, Betsy, you're going to get this from it, that we can probably maybe choose curiosity over class, use these conversations and even opportunities as a climbing wall to move the dialogue forward. And then even in the conversation and opportunity that when it presents itself, then still be rooted in common purpose. And if we can really truly do that, whether it be in our workplaces, whether it be in our communities, that is going to really not only bring humanity together. I truly believe those are going to be the kind of conversations and opportunities that's going to really bring that humanity into business and beyond, because at the end of the day, what's the one thing that interconnects us all, Betsy? It's that very humanity.
Yes. It's kind of funny in the way that you said about curious. I interviewed their brother and sister. They're twins. They wrote a book, Curious Minds, The Power of Connection,
okay.
Dr. Perry Zern and Dr. Danny S. Bassett. And, curiosity helps us to grow, helps us to connect to each other. Very interesting interview and a very very good
I would
book.
love to meet him. I would love to meet him and say, like I said, when you share that video into your blog, like I said, I will send you that video so you can share that with your viewers and your blog audience too as well. When she brings up these points, it is going to, like I said, open yourself up to a much larger world, because if we can choose curiosity over clash and use those conversations and opportunities as a climbing wall to move the dialogue forward and then be rooted then in still in common purpose, that's why I say the agreement and alignment dynamic is not mutually exclusive to any single one person, whether it be in a business model kind of dynamic or even a community dynamic in and of itself. Because, see, maybe we can say, hey, I can agree to disagree, but I can still work with you in this. Or I can still say, hey, I'm in alignment with you in this, but I don't necessarily agree on maybe the outcome that we're reaching. But then again, I truly believe in this. It's not about the role that people have. It's about probably maybe achieving the goal. And see, I tell people in this kind of dynamic, I don't care how you start the race into that journey. I really don't. I don't even care how you finish it in that journey. I really don't. What I care about the most, Betsy, is what did you learn along the way? What value was bestowed upon you? What value did you bestow upon people? What knowledge were you sharing? What knowledge that you claimed and gleaned from that curious conversation? And then through those kind of dynamics and opportunities, it leads into a much larger world for not only you but also them, because I truly believe we have not really gotten curious about one another in a really, really big way. Or even, I truly even believe in this even more so, we haven't even dreamed big enough on a whole big scale, and I'm just generalizing here because I know everyone's going to be uniquely different, but I truly see today, though, Betsy, that if we can allow our dreams, that when we dream big, and we dream, I mean, a lot, I'm sure a lot of us do, but if we can dream big enough to where I can allow your dream to be inside of mine, Betsy, that's going to be a beautiful thing. But what's even going to be better as well is when you dream big enough, Betsy, and you allow my dream to be inside of yours, think about the power of collaboration and possibilities can literally be limitless and endless if we allow that to occur.
Wow, that is definitely food for thought, Chris. So when you say human development, are you talking about from like childhood development or adult development or being better human beings, being kind to each other?
It's all the above. It's all the above, and here's why. I truly believe, Betsy, there's no personal development anymore. There's no professional development anymore. There's human development. Like I said in that very quote, to embrace others for their differences, for that which makes you whole. I truly believe we can develop people on a whole scale, because if we only do parts of a person, so to speak, and we only, let's say, case in point, if they only focused on my speech therapy, because I had a speech impediment far worse than Mel Tillis, that they only focused on that, and they said, Chris, we're not going to worry about your mental disability or your slow learning disability, and we only focused on getting you to speak again, and that was it. They only did part of the issue. They only did part of the, as they say, problem, so to speak. But if we take people on a whole scale and say, hey, where can you see yourself on this journey? Where can I fit into that? Where can you see yourself fit into that? And it's almost like, again, I have to go back to Star Wars. In Star Wars, there's a master and an apprentice. A master knows a lot of knowledge, have gained a lot of insight and a lot of clarity from the travels and experiences he's gone through, because he has that knowledge. But a master has to teach an apprentice to pass on what he has learned. But see, this is the dynamic that shows up for me for what I've learned from Star Wars. What if the master can not only be the master, but also be the student in the very same context? Because if the apprentice can teach the master something, that will be very significant, and here's why. A master doesn't know everything. There's no way to know everything in our lives. I truly believe, in my point of view, there's no experts, so to speak. I believe everyone knows what they know at the level of their knowledge, so to speak. Because think about it, if we knew everything, and we knew that, let's say, the path of success, and we knew what it would take to get there, wouldn't we all be there? But we're all not there. Because,
right.
See,
well, I get what you're saying. That we will learn from each other. You know, the master can learn from the student can learn from the master. They learn together. They can learn from each other.
Correct. Because, see, like I said, if we knew everything, and we knew, like I said, the path to success, and the one way to be happy and be fulfilled and have great enjoyment in our lives, we would all be doing it. But see, that's not the case. That is why everyone is uniquely different from one another, because we do have those unique experiences. We do have those unique points of views and the way we look at life. We have those unique ways to really do the things that we do, and do the things that we know is not only the right thing to do, but also we can take a stand on those kind of things. Because, see, wouldn't that be a boring thing and a boring way to live if not only we all thought the same way, but we did the same thing together? That what you did yesterday, Betsy, is the same thing I did yesterday. And yet, what we've been taught and led to believe, that we actually have embraced it probably for generations, that say we got to stand out from the crowd. We have to end up being so unique that we have to be different from one another. But I will take a different reverse tack on that. I truly believe there's a balance there within, and here's why. What if we actually went back to what actually connects us and binds us together as a human race? What if our similarities were more in alignment to one another than we can possibly even fathom to imagine, even right here, right now, of what self-limiting beliefs that we put on ourselves, or what we have been taught from either our parents or grandparents or our co-workers or whatever, that led us in a path that we only knew that that's the word that we knew. But what if there was something much larger out there, that if we shed all those kind of negative things in our life, or even people for that matter, because there might be some negative people out there who don't believe in what you believe or even see what you see, that we can say, hey, I'm not going to be defined by what people label me as, or be conditioned in the way that you want me to be conditioned as, just to be in your company or to get to know more from who you are and everything like that. Again, that goes right back to the thing that I really hold most dear in my life, is that choice. I can choose the way I show up to people. I can choose my attitude. I can choose the words that I use. I can choose to really have an awesome day because I live in a mindset of abundance, but yet give myself space and grace, and also give others space and grace to have those bad days, because we're all going to have them, because at the end of the day, Betsy, we're all human. Yeah. And when people see that and know that in their heart, that's going to completely change not only their mindset, but the way they have that kind of image of you in their mind, and say, this is who Betsy is, this is who Chris is. And if they can really say, hey, I see them now in a different light, that's the greatest gift that we can bestow onto people, because, again, at the end of the day, it's about giving them that value to such an extent that, again, the very act of giving and the very act of receiving. So when we give that knowledge to them, and we give them our time, we give them our insights on their things, and we suggest things to them, we're not expecting that instantaneous kind of return on investment kind of dynamic that we've been so conditioned to believe that we have to be so self-gratified in that instantaneous moment. When I want to impact on somebody, Betsy, I want it to be not only for the right reasons, but I don't want nothing in return. And here's why. Because I know if I plant that seed in somebody through my story or through my vision or mission or purpose that is bringing humanity together, it's going to come on their due course and their due time. And see, I share with people every day, Betsy, the way I want bringing humanity together to be known for is I wanted to make it about them and not about me, and put it on their timetable and not on mine. Here's why. In most business models, in most societies in general, when you make things about you and you alone, it's always going to be about you. But when you flip that dynamic around and you make it about others and you put it on their timetable and not on yours, that's when servant leadership shows up to a lot of people. And you doing it, like I said, knowing that it's a very act of giving and a very act of receiving, that you're willing to do it, not only if it was for free, but you're doing it because you know it comes from a place of authenticity and genuineness, and it's from the heart. Because when you help the heart of humanity be beating in such a way that everyone can not only be beating in unison, but they can also be beating to their own unique drum, that is the coup de grace moment for humanity, because we all play different music. We all play different instruments. We all play different parts in this grand thing that is life. And when we do those things and we do it very well in harmony with life, what can we not achieve or do, not only in our lives, but in the lives of others?
Wow, that's a great, wonderful concept, Chris, because I feel we are much more alike than we are different. And,
correct.
You know, I worked with children also. I worked in a preschool for 13 years. Children are naturally curious, and that's
yes.
why they ask a lot of questions. And when I was growing up, because I grew up in the 60s in grammar school, and, you know, you're taught a certain way, and you can't think other than that way, because
right.
Thinking for yourself really wasn't encouraged. And I think if we as adults and teachers and educators would consider that children learn different ways, doesn't make
yes.
one better than the other.
Yes.
But there's different ways to learn, and we can embrace each other for who we are. Chris, I have worked, like I said, with children. When you see children play with each other, they don't care if someone has a disability. They don't care what color someone's skin is. It's the adults
exactly.
who care.
Exactly.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And think about this, Betsy. I was actually on a social media app earlier this week. I believe it was actually LinkedIn Audio. It was a couple of days ago, I believe. And this is what I said, and because they were talking about emotional intelligence. And I believe that plays a big part in role not only in our business lives but also in our personal lives. And I said to him with this very quote in mind that what if IQ and EQ equals you? I'll say that again. What if IQ and EQ equals you? What shows up for you, Betsy, when you hear IQ and EQ equals you?
EQ. Well, I have to say that my IQ is average, but I think I have a great emotional. I think my emotional cues might be better than my IQ, but I think everyone thinks differently. They feel
Correct.
differently about different matters and different events. I just think that if we could put aside our differences, like if someone is a Democrat, or if I don't agree with their politics, I'm not going to try to change them. I could accept people for who they are. I may not approve of someone's lifestyle. Doesn't mean I don't like them, that I can't be friends with them. And if people would just stop this hatred of and stop their bigotry, which just drives me nuts. I just think we need to start working together and bringing humanity together, because we need to show, love and kindness to each other. I had a pastor, and he always said everything rises and falls on leadership. And even leadership, Chris, in the workplace, sometimes you might have a CEO or a manager that's like, okay, it can only be done this way. But if you say, well, I have a different idea, and I think it might achieve a better goal, a better outcome, then why can't someone express that? Why does it always have to be one way when there could be several ways to achieve something? I don't know if I answered your question, but that's how I see it.
Love what you said there, and that's beautiful when you have these kind of great and engaging conversations, Betsy, because you just never know where it's going to go. And see, I'm glad you said about everything rises and falls on leadership. You're absolutely right. But think about this. There's different ways to lead, or even different ways to be, because leadership is not one uniform construct. It is not. But it's foundationalized in one foundation that branches out like a tree. There's so many ways to leadership, it's not even funny. There's servant leadership. There's honoring leadership. You could just probably have a plethora of leadership skills. It's not even funny. But I will go back to what John C. Maxwell says in his great book, The 21 Beautiful Laws of Leadership. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. It's not a title, it's not a rank, it's not even a position. It's influence. And Betsy, it's how we show up to that influence that matters. If we show up with our influence and our attitude in a very negative and either condescending way, or we are fueled by hatred or bigotry or whatever that might be for any one of us, what is the outcome most likely ain't going to be? People are going to run from you and run from you like stat. They will run and they won't look back. But if we use our influence for a positive result and with a positive mindset and an abundance mindset, and you're not in it for the money, but you're in it for the impact, and you're wanting to really meet people where they are and take them for who they are, that's going to get a far better outcome, because you are allowing that to occur. And like I said, there are different ways to lead and there are different ways to be, because, again, at the end of the day, we're not one single entity. We're so uniquely different from one person to the next. That's what makes us whole, is because we are having different points of view. We are having different experiences in our life. We have different knowledge that we can glean from and share with each other. Because, again, if that makes us whole, that can make also them whole because we are allowing that with them and everything like that. Because if we just see a brighter future in a path for humanity, I truly believe this is the question we should ask, each and every single one of us today. Do we want humanity to grow and thrive and become the next rise and renaissance of humanity tomorrow? Do we want that for our kids and our grandkids and our great-grandkids, that where they can grow up in a world where everyone has not only a seat at the table of humanity, but they can take that in whichever way, shape, matter, or form that they choose to deem it for themselves to be on. And it's not up to me to tell somebody, you have to work this way, or you have to think this way, or you have to be in a certain way. It's not about that. And that's where a lot of judgment comes into play and a lot of ego comes into play. And, again, it's making it all about you to some extent for probably a lot of people out there. And I recognize that. But you know what? I will still meet them nonetheless, and here's why. At the end of the day, I know if I don't lead with my humanity every day in every way, I cannot say without a shadow of a doubt that I can be better than them or even worse than them if I always put them in that kind of category. Oh, I'm better than them because I have 10 degrees and they don't. Or I'm lesser than them because they have $10 million in the bank and I don't, and I'm broke. And see, when we do those kind of things to each other, that we kind of put those people in those kind of categories or labels or anything like that, that creates that separation yet again to us in a way that we say, hey, because they have these 10 degrees, I'm not smart enough to be in their circles. I won't measure up to them. And that's when the comparison starts to set into our heads, that we are comparing ourselves to each other to such a degree, it keeps us, again, separated from what really matters most. It's how can we connect with each other to bring meaningful conversations to the table, create environments that not only everyone can love, but create outcomes that we all can share and have a hand in. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in one way to do that. Again, there's many ways to create that outcome, and there's many paths to get there. And I truly believe when we as people can literally set aside our egos and our biases and everything that's, like I said, in a negative kind of connotation to a certain extent, that we can literally have that better world. And look no further to, again, like I said, George Lucas had a great way of looking at life, but look no further than Gene Roddenberry. Look what Gene Roddenberry did with Star Trek. He envisioned a world where everyone did something for the betterment of humanity. They wasn't rooted in money. They wasn't rooted in power and fortune and any of that. And people was just taken for who they are. And I truly believe there's a lot of significance in that, to where when we give people that very value that we bestow upon them, and they really see it and it's tangible to them and it goes right into their heart of hearts, that's how we can change not only how we think as individuals, but also how society can say, hey, maybe this is not the way we should think as a whole. Maybe there's different perspectives, different ways of leading our community in a different way that doesn't have to be what the status quo tells us that we have to do, or even in education, or if it's about Alzheimer's or whatever that might be. There are different paths that we can choose and deem it for ourselves, but yet let room and a place and space for people to be also in that space with you, because you just never know. There might be somebody that may have a child or a brother or an aunt or an uncle that may have someone that has Alzheimer's too. And maybe by having that conversation with them, not only can you get to better know them, who they are, but they can see you in a much different light, because they can have that connection that brought you together. Is because it's Alzheimer's, or if it's about football, or if it's about the Olympics, or whatever that might be. There are some things that can be so uniting for humanity like no other time in human history if we just allow that to occur. And we can be united in something that's going to be far meaningful and far more significant if we can come together and say, hey, the best thing that we can do when we sit at that table of humanity is to ask this very simple question, Betsy. How can I help and serve you?
Yes. That's an excellent question, a statement. This is about service to others. And wow, Chris, you are inspiring, motivating, and I enjoy talking to you. Thank you for coming on my show.
I am so humbled and honored, and we got to let the audience know just a little tidbit about you to a certain extent. So I got to ask you, Betsy, what brought you to Bringing Humanity Together? What really intrigued you about what we're building here at Bringing Humanity Together?
Well, I was, curious. I mean, I never heard of it until you contacted me, and I'm like, I'm always like, well, yeah, I'll check it out, see what it's about. So my first meeting, which was Monday, was more like curiosity to see, what goes on, and what you all, do. And that's what, sparked my interest. And I just, very grateful that you connected with me and, invited me. And that's, that's how I felt. I just really wanted to know what it was all about. And
so do you really resonate with the 5 pillars of Bringing Humanity Together?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely do. And I think it's a great 5 pillars. And I didn't know what that was until we went to until I heard it at the meeting. Although I might have read about it before, but forgot that I read about it. I think the concept of 5 pillars are definitely is something I'm interested in. But and I'm going to encourage the audience to contact Chris. I'm going to spell his last name because my Jersey accent. I may not say it correctly. It's Berryman, Berryman, and you can be reached on LinkedIn and your personal page, Chris Berryman, and your Bringing Humanity Together is a separate link, and both of those links will be in the blog, folks.
Yes, exactly. There will be my personal LinkedIn profile, which will have all my contact information there too as well, and then also our business page. We will love and encourage you to follow it because we also have a weekly newsletter that we put out there too as well. And if you want to even be a part of our great and growing community, we also have a great community on LinkedIn, but I can send you that link personally myself, and we can let everyone be involved in that too as well, because we have communities everywhere. We have communities on Facebook. We have communities on Wisdom. We have communities on Clubhouse. So we're just everywhere. So we just want to keep it concise. So for right now, we're building out the LinkedIn platform for now, and then we'll go out to other ones, and we'll really build this community out like nobody's business.
Well, thank you, Chris. You're doing a wonderful work. And folks, connect with Chris. The links will be in the blog. So please read the blog that Jeanne White, who's station manager, writes. And Jeanne also produces the show. So I'm very thankful for Jeanne and what she does. And I wanted to thank Lillian Cauldwell, who's CEO of Passion World Talk Radio, who makes this all possible. And I want to thank you, the listeners. Thank you for listening and subscribing and sharing the show. And if you haven't already subscribed to Chatting with Betsy, it's for free. It's on iHeart, Spotify, Spreaker, YouTube, just to name a few. And, folks, I really would appreciate it if you would share my show because you've heard me. I am about helping others. That's who I am. I want to help as many people as possible, and I can only do that if you share the show, resources to help people have a better life, for if you're a caregiver, so you can have a better journey, your loved one can have a better journey, and that's a little bit what I'm about, and I'm very passionate about helping people. And when you share the show, you're also helping me to honor my husband, Matt, his memory, because Matt was and always will be my inspiration for what I do. And I just want to thank you all for that. And you could follow me on my Facebook page, Betsy E. Wurzel, W-U-R-Z-E-L, and you could definitely see what I'm all about. You could see pictures of me, my family, and I post a lot about Alzheimer's because I'm a big Alzheimer's advocate. And I also have a support group, #Kick Alzheimer's Ass Movement. If you are a caregiver or you just want to know about being a caregiver, need support, you could please join the group. Everyone is welcome. And as I always say at the end of my show, in a world where you could be anything, please be kind and shine your light bright, because if we all did that, it would be a much kinder, brighter world. And that's what I believe. So until we chat again, this is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio. Bye-bye now.